Hey everyone, welcome back to another Mattel Jurassic World review. Today we'll be taking a look at the brand new Primal Attack Soundstrike Sinoceratops. This figure comes in the Camp Cretaceous style package in the tie into the new Netflix animated show, which at the time of this recording premieres next Friday. I ended up ordering this figure off of Amazon. It retails for $14.99, and I'll leave a link in the description to Amazon if you want to order this figure for yourself. So let's just go over the packaging really quick before we crack this figure open. Like I said earlier, it comes in the Camp Cretaceous style packaging. You got the Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous logo back there, and just behind the tail, you have the Primal Attack logo. You have a picture of the kids from the new Camp Cretaceous show. You got Toro the Carnotaurus, and spin around the side, you get a picture of some more of the kids and Bumpy the baby Ankylosaurus. And then on the back, you have a nice full art picture of how the Soundstrike action works on this Sinoceratops. And then right here, this little cutout is a little sticker map for Camp Cretaceous. Then down here in the corner are the other figures in this wave. The Parasaurolophus is a carryover from the previous wave, and the Pteranodon from the first wave of Soundstrikes is making another appearance. I never get excited for the large Pteranodons. They are probably one of my least favorite figures Mattel has made so far. Just, the size of them is just too big for me. But anyways, now that we've gone over the packaging, let's crack this figure open and take a closer look. And here is the Sinoceratops out of the packaging. And I have to say, I am very impressed with this figure. It is definitely one of the largest Soundstrike figures ever made. When you pick this thing up, it has some serious density and heft to it. It is a very heavy figure. And I think it's one of the best ceratopsians Mattel has done so far. Seriously, I am way more impressed with this thing than I thought I would be. Just having it in hand, this thing is absolutely fantastic. So let's just do a couple quick measurements before we take a closer look at this figure. This figure is just about 13 inches long from the tip of the tail to the tip of the beak, and just about 4 3/4 inches tall to the top of that spike on the frill. Sinoceratops was just under 20 feet long, so I put this figure somewhere in that 1/18 scale range. Now, if you've been collecting this line since Mattel took over when Fallen Kingdom came out, you'll know this is not Mattel's first attempt at a Sinoceratops. The first one looked like this. And having these two figures side by side, you can clearly see this is not a Sinoceratops. On the packaging, it says it was a Sinoceratops, but this is clearly a Pachyrhinosaurus. Now, the reason I think this happened was that originally in Fallen Kingdom, the Pachyrhinosaurus was supposed to be in the movie, but these toy companies, they just get the concept art early before the movie's actually finished and start working on the toy. So I think somewhere during production, they decided to go with a Sinoceratops instead of a Pachyrhinosaurus. So Mattel just decided to call this thing Sinoceratops, not to confuse people when the movie came out, even though it was very confusing to people that don't know the difference between the species, because obviously this Pachyrhinosaurus looks nothing like this Sinoceratops that was shown off in Fallen Kingdom. Now, the coloration on this new, much more improved Sinoceratops is based on what this dinosaur is going to look like in the new Camp Cretaceous cartoon. The color scheme of the one in Fallen Kingdom more closely resembles the green coloration of this Pachyrhinosaurus. So I think sometime in the near future, I bet you Mattel will re-release this Sinoceratops in its green color scheme, which I'll be perfectly fine with. I'd love to have one in the Fallen Kingdom color scheme. So let's zoom in and take a look at some of the finer details on this figure, starting with the head. Now, in real life, a Sinoceratops really did not look like this. Yes, it had a large nose horn, but these spikes on the frill right there were not this big as they are in this figure, with the Jurassic Park style dinosaurs. A lot of the features are exaggerated, and these frill spikes are definitely exaggerated. And plus, even this opening on the fenestra of the frill, that is also incorrect. But despite those inaccuracies, this is still a really nice movie-accurate Sinoceratops. The beautifully sculpted nose horn and spikes are all painted in a dark gray color. The main body is a light gray color. Then you have some nice off-white color along the side of the face right here, some more of it along the frill. Then you have some orange and yellow paint, and you have more of that off-white on the back. And that's pretty much it for paint apps. I think it could use a little bit more. I always like to see some belly shading on these figures, but other than that, I really think this color scheme works. Even the beak has a nice paint app. It's a light brown color. The eye is just straight black, and you can see the pupil color is actually the plastic underneath that. That's been something Mattel has been doing a lot this year with a lot of their figures. They're not actually painting the pupil black, but if they did on this figure, the eye would just be straight black. It actually looked like a collector figure, but I actually think the completely black eye with that little bit of a light gray pupil actually kind of works. It gives it a very peaceful herbivore look. It would be nice if this chin spike right here was painted in gray like the rest of them. And then going down to the rest of the body, you can see some beautiful scale detail on the front limbs. You have all different size scales sculpted in right there. The front claws are nicely sculpted. Front claws and back claws are not painted. That's something typical Mattel does not do. Then moving down to the body, you get some more different size scales and some nice folds and wrinkles. Same thing on the hind legs. Some nice muscle definition. A lot of large scales and scoots. And then on the back right here, you get some really nice different size scales along the back. And then going down to the tail, same thing, all different size scales. So all in all, a really, really well done and well sculpted figure. So moving on to articulation, this figure has standard articulation. Most of it is tied to the Soundstrike action gimmick, so the front leg can move forwards and barely any backwards movement. The arms actually just bang into the side of the rib cage. The hind legs can go backwards and forwards a lot more than the front legs. Actually, the back legs do have that hip pivot that a lot of the Mattel figures have. And that is it for articulation. But before I forget, here is the scan code if you want to scan this figure into the Fax app. Moving on to the Soundstrike feature, it works just the same on this figure as it does for all the others. You just want to grab the figure by the tail, and by rotating it, you'll activate its head motion and electronic sounds. It's nice that they gave this figure herbivore sounds. I know on the Edmontosaurus it actually had carnivore sounds, which kind of drove me a little bit nuts, but definitely some of these sounds sound like they're reused from the electronic Triceratops that came out when the line first started. Alright, let's move on with some comparisons. First up is one of the human figures. Here it is with John Hammond. And here it is with some of the other ceratopsians from Mattel. Here it is with the dual attack Triceratops. And as you can see, the Sinoceratops is actually larger than the Triceratops. I say it every single time I bring out a Mattel Triceratops. They need to be a lot bigger. Triceratops is the largest ceratopsian. There's no way a Sinoceratops should be bigger than a Triceratops. So I hope one day Mattel finally answers what a lot of us have been begging for, a larger Triceratops. And here it is with the dual attack, the Pseudoceratops, and since I still have it over here, here it is with the Pachyrhinosaurus, Protoceratops, and here it is with the Styracosaurus, if I can get them all into shot. Now, we have a lot of different ceratopsian bodies now from Mattel, and Mattel can really start reusing these bodies and just giving them different head sculpts to give us more species. It's very cost efficient to do that, just to sculpt a new head instead of a new body that can give us Pentaceratops, Centrosaurus, any species, kind of like what Beast of the Mesozoic is doing. And since these two squared off in Fallen Kingdom, here it is with the Control and Conquer Carnotaurus. You can see this Carnotaurus absolutely towers over this Sinoceratops. Carnotaurus, another figure that should not be that big. And here it is with all the new species that we've gotten so far in the Primal attack line. And I gotta say, this is an absolutely fantastic looking lineup. A lot of great sculpts, a lot of variety of species. Mattel did a really good job this year with all the new species of dinosaurs that they have given us. I think the Sinoceratops may be the last new sculpt that we're getting. I remember over a year ago at San Diego Comic-Con, Mattel teased all those silhouettes and saying that we were getting 17 new species. But I've looked at that picture a couple times. I count 15, maybe 16 silhouettes in that picture, and I think we got everything. You know, some people said the last one might be the Troodon, but I know with the next wave of Savage Strikes, Massive Biters, and Sound Strikes, we're getting all repaints. So maybe there's one more surprise left in the next wave of attack packs. I mean, if this is all we're getting for Primal Attack, I'm happy. Can't wait to see what Mattel's going to do for Dominion. So, final thoughts on this figure. I think the Sinoceratops is absolutely fantastic. Love the sculpted in detail. And on top of that, I think it is one of the largest sound strikes we ever got. It is truly a large figure for that $14.99 price point. And hopefully someday in the future, I hope we do get a green repaint of this figure. That's a repaint I will not complain about from Mattel. This figure is definitely in my top 5 new species that Mattel made this year. Love the size and heft of this figure. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I ordered this figure from Amazon. I have the link in the description if you want to order this figure for yourself. So that will pretty much do it for the review. As always, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, show your support by hitting that subscription button just below the video. Each subscription helps out the channel tremendously, and it's greatly appreciated. And I'll see you guys for the next one.